Winter and Flurry were sisters. Winter, the oldest, was a math wizard and musician. She loved puzzle games and solving mysteries. She was extremely well organized and always on time.
Come on, sis. Time to get up.
Flurry, the youngest, was not.
5 more minutes.
She lived for science, especially conducting experiments. Right now, she was busy seeing how many more winks she could get before Winter interrupted.
We don't have 5 more minutes if we want to make it to the station on time. The train! I nearly forgot. Why didn't you wake me up earlier? I tried. Well, not hard enough.
The two loved each other, but saw things a bit differently.
Where's my backpack? You'd know if your side wasn't such a mess. Excuse me. It's organized chaos.
Let's be young. Let's be kids. Let's do all those things that we never did. Let's be young. Come on, let's be kids. Let's go climbing up a tree, jumping in the leaves, scraping up our knees, singing la 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 la. We could count the shooting stars, radio to Mars, secrets in the dark, whisper la 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 la. Just you and I. Let's be young, let's be kids. Let's do all those things that we never did. Let's be young. Come on, let's be kids. When I'm catching
The high-ceiling train station could not contain the girls' excitement. They were on their way to the countryside to visit Grannie. Winter bought their tickets from the ticket agent.
2, please.
And they waited along with the other passengers on the platform.
I hope I get a window seat.
Wished Flurry.
You'll have to beat me to it.
Replied Winter. All aboard, shouted the conductor, and everyone climbed aboard.
This is awesome! Look, a rainbow! A rainbow? Really? Where? Wow!
A porter began serving lunch.
We picked the perfect weekend to go to the country. What do you want to do first when we get to Granny's?
Winter thought.
Organize her pantry. It's such a mess. I'd like not confusing baking soda with baking powder for once. Good one. I want to have an adventure. Outdoors. Your plan sounds more fun. Let's do that first.
Winter smiled.
Now let's see. If the train is traveling at a speed of 80 miles per hour, taking into account the wind resistance and the steepness of the grades both up and down, yada yada yada, not to mention the non-aerodynamic properties of these old train cars, yada yada yada. Don't forget to carry the yada. Oh yes, thank you. Yes! That should put us at Granny's stop at exactly 3:47 p.m. and 13 seconds.
Flurry looked amused.
Sis, only you could turn this trip into a math problem.
The train gave a long whistle as it wound its way through the familiar countryside and finally arrived at a rural station.
Oh, crumbs, we're 2 minutes and 49 seconds ahead of schedule.
It's a beautiful day.
So, shall we take the path or the lane?
Winter hesitated.
I vote we go the long way. Come on.
Flurry ran up the path through the sunny woods, with Winter not far behind. The woodland path really was the best way to get to Granny's. Although the walk was a bit longer, it avoided the village, and therefore was always the faster way when you took into account the chatty neighbors. The sisters knew the path by heart and dearly loved the forest.
Hey, check out the fungus among us. Is it humongous?
The two laughed and smiled at the trees. It was like greeting old friends.
It's a beautiful day to be with you.
In a short while, they were letting themselves into Granny's back garden.
Yay! We're here!
Enthused Flurry, running to inspect the pond.
Cool, tadpoles. They already have legs.
Winter eyed the gorgeous flower beds.
Granny's been busy as usual.
The fruit trees were loaded and the vegetable garden was bearing well. It was a lovely garden and so like Granny. A delicious smell was coming from the house. Pie.
Come in, girls.
Granny called from the kitchen.
Granny! Granny!
called the girls, running to hug her in her gardening clothes.
I'm so happy to see you,
said Granny.
Now sit and have a piece of pie.
Winter and Flurry did exactly that. The girls loved the room they shared at Granny's. It was airy and bright with comfy furniture and shelves stocked with their favorite books and board games. They barely had time to put their things down when there was a knock at the door.
Cousin Zach!
Zach is in the house. Let the games begin.
Granny had been keeping their favorite cousin's arrival a secret. Now they were happy to be surprised. In no time, he had his game console running, his sleeping bag on the floor, and was done moving in. Then they all started planning tomorrow's exciting adventure in the woods. But the next morning, they awoke to the unthinkable. Rain.
No! Oh, crumbs.
The garden was soggy and the woods were awash.
But there go our plans for the day.
I think we should go anyway. Oh, man.
My stars, it's raining cats and dogs and little fishes out here.
Granny declared as they hastened back to the house.
Come on, time to warm up. Hot cereal and cocoa. And after that, you three will just have to use your imaginations. Great,
thought Winter. She knew what that meant. Now, Flurry and Zach would want to play in Granny's attic. The truth of the matter was that the attic was a wonderful place to play on a rainy day. But something about it had always made Winter a bit nervous. After breakfast, Winter took her time.
Come on, Winter, let's go to the attic.
Flurry called through the door.
I'm in the shower.
Winter called back, jumping in.
Go ahead without me. I'll catch up with you later.
She's taking a shower? Now?
Grumped Zach.
Girls.
The attic was a mysterious place, heavy with history. It was filled with ancient furniture, antique clothes, and marvelous old toys that Granny had played with as a girl. Best of all were the books. A whole corner of the room was set up as a library. The walls of the attic were covered by a fantastic mural of beautiful storybook landscape that looked so real, Winter was positive that the fairy tale characters in the painting had winked at her occasionally through the years, as if they shared some great secret. Flurry and Zach had been playing an imaginative game of pretend for a while when Winter settled herself in with a book. A pleasant hour passed, with the rain pattering on the roof. Suddenly, Winter was roused from her reading by excited voices.
Look at it. Fleur, let's go.
I'm in.
Winter turned in time to witness Zach and Flurry rush straight into the painting on the wall. She stared in disbelief as the pair ran happily down the painted road around a bend and out of sight.
Hey, wait for me.
Winter ran for the mural, but when she tried to enter the painting herself,
Ouch.
she hit a solid wall and bumped her nose. She frantically searched for traces of her sister and cousin, but Flurry and Zach were nowhere to be seen.
Granny!
Winter came pounding downstairs into the kitchen in a panic.
Sit down, Winter. Have a cup of tea and tell me all about it. I don't have time for tea! Well, this is an emergency.
Granny said calmly, pouring 2 cups.
What's wrong?
Something terrible has happened.
Sugar.
Yes, please. Flurry and Zach ran into the painting in the attic and vanished.
Cream.
No, thank you. Oh, Granny!
Winter mourned.
How could this possibly be?
Granny took a sip of tea and said,
Imagination is an unpredictable thing, my dear. Your great-uncle Thelonious used quite a bit of it when he painted that mural for your mother many years ago. I'm not surprised Flurry and Zach were able to imagine themselves right into it.
But what about me?
Winter demanded.
When I tried to follow them, it didn't work. Why?
Perhaps you are unable to suspend your disbelief, my dear.
Granny said gently.
I'm afraid you may have to find another way into storybook land.
But
You're brilliant. You can do it. Just use your imagination.
So back to the attic Winter went. She examined the mural from all angles. With all her might, she tried to imagine herself into storybook land. It wasn't working. She tried imagining herself entering through the old dollhouse without success. She even peeked in the back of the antique wardrobe just in case, but all she got were the sneezes. Nothing was working. Finally, Winter sat down in despair and picked up a book. It was her childhood favorite.
The Tale of Peter Rabbit.
Winter began to read.
Once upon a time, there were 4 little rabbits.
She relaxed, sinking happily into the beloved story. Peter was in Mr. McGregor's garden. She could practically feel the warm sun on her back, the grass beneath her feet, and the fresh smell of
Radishes?
Suddenly, she was startled by a shout.
Stop thief! Let's be young, let's be kids, let's do all those things that we